situations as we grow up and go through this journey called life, things will happen to us. Sometimes they're good and sometimes they can be bad. Single events, single occurrences. Maybe it's like you win the championship or you ace a test, or the very first time you went on vacation and your toes touched the sand on the beach of Florida. Good memories. But also these moments of impact, they can come through tragedy and hardships and difficult times. Maybe when mom and dad got divorced, or maybe when a friend of ours passed away, or we lost a grandparent. Hard things that challenge us. And when these moments of impact happen, these powerful times, good or bad, it's like the details are just more vivid. We remember the people that were around us, the conversations that were being spoken, the clothes that were on our back, the atmosphere, because that thing impacted us in such a way. Still to this day, even though it maybe was years ago, still to this day, we remember so many details about when it happened exactly. Moments of impact. How many of you can think back into your past and think back something that's happened to you, good or bad, that still to this day, you can remember so many details when it happened? Raise your hand. Lots of us, right? Moments of impact. And I remember when I walked into this family meeting when I was in the 6th grade, right after the basketball things happened, my dad called a family meeting, and I walked into this family meeting, and I was excited because my dad used to always do family meetings to surprise us with good stuff. So I walk in, and my dad was to my right, my mom was across from my sisters to my left, my back was to the stove, to the sink, and to the fridge. I could see the living room with the TV, the wooden table my dad had built. It was a handcrafted table. It was beautiful. I hated the table, though, because it was extremely heavy, and my father would never get the moving crew, and we moved a lot when I was a kid. I carried that stupid table all across the state of Indiana. But I remember all the details because mom looked at dad and dad looked at me. My dad began to share about this divorce. And dude, it rocked me because my parents never fought really in front of me. I was naive enough when I was a kid to think that I had a picture-perfect family. And the reason is my parents never fought in front of me. I was never allowed to go into the bedroom because, you see, I have one speed. It's called squirrel. And when I was 10, you can times this by 10s, dude, I broke everything. I destroyed everything. And my parents were like, listen, Nate, listen, we love you, son, but we need a place where we can think our bedroom off limits. I only remember the bedroom door 4 or 5 times even being open. But the truth is, as the divorce happened and my dad was ripped out of my life, I asked questions and I found out behind the bedroom doors where the verbal, the mental, and the emotional abuse happened in my family. Behind the bedroom doors where the drugs and the alcohol happened in my family. And I talked to my parents and I found out the truth. And my parents were like, Nathan, we were just trying to protect you so you could focus on school. I understand their why. I'm not saying they were wrong. I get it. It wasn't my concern. But it didn't change, so I felt lied to and betrayed. And I remember when I looked at my dad, who was my icon, my hero for so long, I looked at him and said, I'm never going to be like you. I felt lied to and betrayed. But you know what they taught me to do unintentionally? I learned to do it. I watched them. I learned how to put on my mask. I learned how to walk the walk and talk the talk and look the look. I learned how to bury all of my hurts, my social, my emotional, my issues, the pressures of life. I learned how to put on my fake face and my fake smile. And I would go to school and everybody on the surface, it looked like I was okay. If I could hand you all the picture, and the picture that I would hand you would be a description of my life. The picture that I would hand you, it would be me sitting on the beach with the most white, pristine sand, and the ocean waters would be crystal clear and aqua blue. The sunsets would be yellows and oranges. The picture would look so beautiful. But below the ocean waters was darkness and depths and predators and prey. And I was screaming, but I was silent. And I didn't know it as a young man that it's okay to not be okay. And if I ask the question, how many of you sitting in here, when I talk about the mask and the fake face and the fake smile, and you go through the motions, but really at the end of the day, you've got issues and you've got stuff going on. How many of you, if you're honest, can relate to that mask? Raise your hand. Lots of us do, right? And I see the thing is, many of us, we wear the mask and we think the mask is keeping us safe. But I had to learn the hard way that the mask that I wore was the very thing that could hold me hostage. Because truthfully, at the end of the day, listen guys, man, I know we don't want to talk about some of the emotional and the social issues and some of the challenge that we have from peer pressure and worried about fitting in with certain groups and crowds and cliques of people, and we have stuff going on, and some of us, we don't even have the tools to cope with those mechanisms, right? And so we wear the mask and we act like it's all okay, but honestly, we're screaming, but we're silent. And for me, the mask that I wore, what happens is pressure begins to build, and pressure busts pipes. And when we don't deal with the social, the emotional, the mental, the pressures of life, or the way that we as people are supposed to, It can cause us to make bad and poor and dangerous decisions and choices. How many of you, if you were honest with me, do you know you have these choices and these areas in your life that you want to try to move towards? You know that you want to try to change. You know you want to face some of these struggles, but fear sometimes paralyzes you. Anybody in here? Yeah, man, I've learned in my journey that I have to skydive that thing. And here's what I mean. I know sometimes, as when I was growing up, I didn't trust anybody. I know things have happened to me. My dad abandoned me. I isolated. And I always said, if I find the perfect person that I can count on, if I find the perfect person that I can trust, then I will. But the truth is that person's not here. People are people, and they're going to let you down. I've learned I can't put my trust and my confidence in the people, but it's in the process and the discipline and the action of the habit of finding the courage to punch fear in the face and take the step of beginning to trust people, which means I started talking, I started speaking. I learned to skydive that thing, and here's what I mean. There's a lot of fears and insecurities all of us have. We all have insecurities. Like it, love it, or leave it. We all have things inside of us that we try to keep secure because we have shame or guilt or embarrassment, or we care what others think. I've learned to skydive that thing. Last year, a bucket list that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to go skydiving. I'm an adrenaline junkie, but the problem is now, where I'm at in my life, I'm a husband, and I'm a father. And I guess my wife doesn't approve of me jumping out of planes at 15,000 feet. So I thought something that I've always wanted to do, I was never going to get the opportunity to do. But I was in Oregon, and I got done early, and I saw a sign, and it said, Skydive Oregon. And so I was like, yep. I called my wife. If I can get my wife to say, yeah, we're all good. I call her and I'm like, hey honey, I got done a little bit early. I've always wanted to, you know, it's something that I've desired to do. I think I'm gonna go skydiving. Nah, I'm cool, I'm not going to. Yeah, maybe. Nah, I'm just kidding, I'm all right, I don't need to do that. It's not probably smart. And she says, I don't think she meant it at all, but she says, because I don't think she wanted to control me, she says, oh no, honey, go for it, do whatever you want to do. But yeah, if you don't want to do it, no big deal, that's cool too. Click. Dude, I know she didn't mean it. But my eyes got so big, I said, she said yes. So 20 minutes later, I call her. I'm packed up, I got an instructor around me, I'm at Skydive Oregon, and I call her, her eyes get so big, I hung up. She ain't saying no. I'm all in. But as I start going through the process of skydiving, as the instructor shows up, and as he starts walking me through this process, my anxiety started getting higher. Like he started coming to me and saying, listen, here's your pack, here's your chute, here's how you're gonna fall. He put me on this counter. He said, this is my ninth jump today. I said, what, bro? 9 times? Do you pack your chute? He said, every time. I said, so you packed your chute 9 times today? Are we gonna test the odds? Are we good? We're cool on one more? Did you get tired? Did you miss a fold? He said, nah, bro, it's cool. He showed me how he did it. Dude, my anxiety, it's getting higher. This little ratchety plane lands. Ratchety. He said, all right, bro, let's get in. Whoa! He's from Oregon, so he's already kind of weird and a hippie. As we get into the plane, we start ascending. He slides in behind me. My anxiety is on 10. Just like some of you, when you know you need to trust, you know that you want these areas in your life that you're insecure, and you get to the edge and fear paralyzes you and anxiety gets higher. Dude, I was right there. I've always wanted to do this, but through the process, I was so uncomfortable. As we get to 13,000 feet, he said, listen, bro, we got 6 connectors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna connect this. I'm gonna hit all 6 3 times. Do this. Woo! You're gonna do it. You know, I know. We're secure. Skydive Oregon. I'm like, 13K. He pulls the door up. He says, listen, the free fall is only gonna be about 30 to 40 seconds. I want you to experience this moment. So we're gonna scoot to the door. We got 2,000 more feet of climbing. As we scoot to the door, and as we begin to get to that place, I want you just to lean out of the plane. I'm holding on, and I'm like, no! He said, okay, now we're there. Here's the next piece that I want you to do. I want you to take the bottom of your feet and touch the bottom of the plane and hang there. I got you. And I'm like, no! Dude, I was terrified. In that plane, which was the safest place that I could have been, I've never felt more anxiety and fear in my life, even though I've always wanted to do it. But soon as I trusted the process, and soon as I trusted the community of those entrusted to help me learn to skydive, as soon as he got to that place at 15K and he said go, and I took that step, and we skydived that thing, all the anxiety, all the fear, it evaporated. As I free fell and I saw Mount Hood, and Mount Rainier, and Mount St. Helens, I've never felt more on top of the world. There's a lot of you in here that you struggle with trust. Fear has paralyzed you. You know there's areas in your life that you want to change, you need to change, but man, you get to the very precipice at that door and you run back because it is uncomfortable, and I need you to know change is uncomfortable. I've learned to skydive that thing. Like grit and perseverance and tenacity and resolve. You see, because I know too well, life for many of us, man, there's challenges. I know many of us sitting in these seats, we have faced adversity and circumstances and storms that we didn't ask for. Sometimes it's like we're just a freshman and a sophomore, and we're trying to grow up in life and figure out, first off, who am I and what do I want to do with my life, and what's my future hold, and we have all the pressure of just kind of growing up in the culture and trying to fit and find our space. And then we have things that happen to us that we didn't ask for, like serious, challenging issues of maybe abuse, mental, physical, emotional, maybe deaths in our family, maybe adversity that happens in our community, in our school. Like we've had real challenges and broken families, divorces, right? Like how many of you sitting in here, if you were honest with me, right? Like I know sometimes it's like this, like we as young people, we didn't ask for some adversity. We didn't ask for some challenges. And it's almost like somebody puts this plate of food right in front of you, right? And they're like, this is life. This is your plate of food. This is all that you get in life. Now deal with it. And you're like, I don't like that. I don't want it. But this is all that you have to deal with because it's the real situation that you're having to figure out. Does anybody understand what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. Yeah, I mean, lots of us. You see, the truth is, our challenge as young men and women, as we're growing up in life, is that we have to continue to develop the tools, and we have to continue to be able to develop the ability that when adversity and when challenges and objects and obstacles get in our way, that's called life, that we've got to be able to understand how to mature in a way that we don't overreact, that we don't act impulsive, that we don't make decisions that will forever impact our future. We don't make decisions that will forever set us back and put us back years behind because we were impulsive or we were erratic or irrational or we didn't understand how to properly process the emotion. Like we need to, as young people, make sure that as we're facing adversity and challenges, that we understand that it's okay to not be okay, that it's okay that we're going through some things, and that the truth is we're not alone, because many of us in here, even when I asked that question, a wave of hands got raised, that life, not only for students, but for adults, for people, will always be full of challenges. The goal is for us, like my dad, when he used to smack the basketball off my face. Listen, I have to identify the problem, and then I have to figure out how to get around the problem. I'm not going to get consumed where all I focus, and I'm always just tore up on the problem, because all of my focus is on the problem. I'm not focusing on the solution.